Fleet Week is meant to recognize and thank those who go to sea in defense of the nation. A Navy veteran living in Benicia survived one of the most harrowing experiences of World War II. And as John Ramus reports, sometimes the effort to survive itself can become an act of heroism.
In July of 1945, the war in Europe was already over when a ship left Mare Island in Vallejo carrying a secret cargo that the military hoped could end the war with Japan. It was the USS Indianapolis, and if you know what happened to that ship, it's probably because of one scene in a very famous movie. An American flag flies over the Benicia home of Harold Bray. At age 96, Harold is a patriotic Navy veteran, his living room adorned with paintings and memorabilia from the only ship he ever sailed aboard, the USS Indianapolis. It was 1945, and Harold was 17 and had just left boot camp. When you shipped out on the Indianapolis, did anybody have any idea that they were going to have this really important mission?
It was just a trip out of Maryland, but they took on a bunch of kids, and I was one of them.
The ship left Mare Island carrying a secret weapon, the most secret weapon of all, the first atomic bomb, nicknamed Little Boy.
I'll tell you what, I sat on the box before there was on the quarterdeck. And
you sat on the atomic bomb?
Yeah.
The cargo was delivered safely, but it's what happened afterwards that people remember the Indianapolis for, all thanks to a gripping scene in the movie Jaws.
You were on the Indianapolis?
What happened? Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. 1,100 men went into the water. The vessel went down in 12 minutes.
I don't know how I was so lucky. I just hit the side and swam away from the ship. Then I hollered for guys. I just happened to find a raft. And I got aboard 18 guys on my raft. The guys were fighting each other for a room on a raft. Well, I'm not going there. I'll hang on to somebody that's hanging onto the raft. So that's what I did.
Very first light, Chief. Sharks come cruising. So we formed ourselves into tight groups. Lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks. Maybe 1,000. I don't know how many men. We averaged 6 an hour.
It was a bad experience. So there wasn't good about it. Every time he looks around and somebody was gone, the sharks were there. That was a terrible scene. The sharks, you got a few young guys that had an attack with it.
Out of a crew of nearly 1,200, only 318 survived. Because the mission was secret, no distress signal was ever sent. They were in the water for 5 days when a plane happened to spot the men, and they were picked up and taken to a hospital on Guam.
I wasn't hurt. I wasn't hurt at all, except memories. You know, there's a lot of guys I helped in the water that were hurt, and it just are always there. There's the guys that didn't make it.
It hasn't been easy. Harold says he still thinks about it nearly every day. Later, he came home, became a Benicia police officer, and raised a family. But his wife Stephanie says he still never talked about it to anyone.
When Jaws came out, the movie, they were talking about it at the police department, and he happened to be in the room, and he says, I was on that ship. And that was the first, that they ever knew.
But then the survivors began planning regular reunions, and Stephanie said it helped for them to be around people who truly understood.
And very healing, too, for them, because they had been instructed by the Navy, go home and forget about it. Don't even talk about it. His parents never knew.
Time, of course, has taken its toll on the crew, and when a fellow shipmate recently passed away, Harold became the sole remaining survivor of USS Indianapolis. In July, Benicia thanked Harold for his service to his town and country with a life-size bronze statue of that young sailor fresh out of boot camp. Do you feel like you're a hero?
No, I saved myself. I helped a lot of guys, but that was the thing to do. You live with them, and I didn't do anything so spectacular.
My father fought in World War II, and like Harold, he rarely talked about it. He said you didn't talk about it because you don't know what the guy on the bar stool next to you went through. I think he meant a guy like Harold Bray.
Well, the Navy never asked Harold to sail again, and to this day, he says he's not comfortable on the water. He's been invited as a special guest for the Fleet Week parade of ships, but he says he will stay on land to view it. And as we send it over to Paul on the